Alright guys, today we're going to be covering another neighborhood. Never ran, never will, Brownsville. This place, since its inception, has been rough and tumble. Gentrification is scared of Brownsville. That's what it looks like. So let's get into the story. Let's go deep into the eastern section of Brooklyn, where a neighborhood that is known for violence and crime and notable figures that have made it out of this tumultuous, volatile neighborhood. The neighborhood was founded in the mid-1800s when a developer named Charles S. Brown bought up swaths of Dutch farmland, and he started selling affordable lots to working class families in the late 1860s to mostly Jewish families that were leaving the overcrowded Lower East Side of Manhattan. And he named it after himself, like a lot of people would. So Charles L. Brown called it Brownsville. Makes sense. The boundaries of this neighborhood are Eastern Parkway to the north, Linden Boulevard to the south, Van Sinderen Avenue to the east, and Ralph Avenue or Rockaway Parkway to the west. And as a neighborhood, it grew fast in population. The arrival of the Fulton Street train station transformed it from a rural patch to a thriving suburb. And by the 1910s, 1920s, Brownsville earned the nickname Little Jerusalem. Think of how Williamsburg is looked at as a Jewish neighborhood. That was Brownsville 100 some odd years ago. Synagogues lined every block, big Jewish families packed in these tenements, push carts, the whole nine. This is also where the infamous Murder Incorporated was born, an underworld organization built on murder. It's in the name. They were hired mercenaries. No alliances, just cash for bodies. You had Abe Kid Twist Rellis, who unfortunately for him was going to be one of the first notable rats in the underworld during that time. And they made sure that this canary didn't sing but fly. And he met a gruesome end, quote unquote, falling out of a window. You have Harry Pittsburgh Phil Strauss, who was credited with over 100 hits. These guys back in the day were built different. Martin Bugsy Goldstein, Emmanuel Mendy Weiss, and the big dog of the whole organization, of the whole operation, Louis Lepke Buchalter, the only American mob leader to be executed by the federal government. Their headquarters was on the corner of Saratoga and Livonia Avenue, where there was a 24-hour candy store called the Midnight Rose Candy Store, ran by Miss Rosie Gold, a woman in her 60s. And yeah, she knew what was going on, but like I said, it was a different time. After World War II, those Jewish families began moving out to the suburbs, and in came in African Americans, and even later on Puerto Rican families would come through starting in the 60s. And since then, the neighborhood has been mostly black and Hispanic to a lesser degree. The neighborhood has never really been one to be jealous of, unfortunately. We can really only say this neighborhood has had a lot of downs and not very many ups outside of the exemplary people that have made it out. So after the Jewish community left, Murder Inc. went down. It was replaced with black and Spanish street gangs. Later on, the drug pushers, crack kingpins and dealers, street gangs like the Bloods and Crips, and it's basically been like that since the 90s. Now, some of the notable figures that have called Brownsville home, you have obviously Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight champion in history, Larry King, one of the kings of radio, RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan, Sean Price, Riddick Bowe, Zab Judah, Shannon Briggs. You have Red Holtzman, former NBA coach, the Three Stooges, Mickey Cohen, who later on migrated out west and ran the LA mob, our crappy mayor, at least for the next couple of days, Eric Adams. The list really goes on and on. But Brownsville, for all its troubles, has produced some of the most influential people in radio, sports, music, and that's just a brief history of Brownsville. Never ran, never will.